In this section, we're going to discuss two important concepts around present value and future value that are used again and again in once again largely in finance, but are a subject of application across a variety of topics. Let's start with the first concept of finding the present value of something. Let's say someone needs a capital of 10 lakhs after 10 years, and the expected return in investments that this person does is about 8%. So what is the amount that needs to be invested today, right? Now there are two ways to solve this. One is there is a certain amount, recalling our formula of CAGR, that grows at 8% for 10 years, and that should give me 10 lakhs. I can back calculate the amount by taking 10 lakhs and dividing it by 1 plus 8% to the power 10. That should give me the answer. Let's try and solve it using this. That's effectively the CAGR formula, just that we are now solving for the initial value. So that's 10 lakhs divided by bracket open 1 plus 8% raised to the power 10, two brackets close. I've put two brackets, the first one for 1 plus 8% and the second one for to the power 10. The amount that needs to be invested today is 4,63,193. 463,193 invested at an assumption of 8% over a 10-year period will give me the capital that is needed there, right? Now, Excel also allows us to kind of put in what is called as a formula for calculating present value, right? In this particular case, we are trying to find the present value of this future amount that is needed, right? So in a sense, we are discounting the future value using the formula that we just see here. This formula is discounting the 10 lakh value by 1 plus 8% over a 10-year period. We can directly apply a formula called present value and try and calculate what the value we get out of that. So let's see that. Let's say we start with PV. So this is called as is equal to PV. And when we look at the present value formula, this has multiple inputs into this, right? So let's look at them. The first one is rate. Rate in this case is 8% for us. N per is the number of periods. For us, this is 10 years. Number of years is the N per for us. PMT is per month payment, if there is any, or per period payment that we are doing. Here there are no periodical payments. There is only a single payment, which is a present value that we have to calculate. Future value is the value that is coming to us at the end of the period, which is 10 lakhs. Type essentially assumes that the investment has happened at the beginning of the year if you leave it as zero, right? So sorry, if you leave it at zero, it says payment at the end of the period. But if you leave it as one, then it is payment at the beginning of the period, right? So in this particular case, the period is right now. We're making the payment at the end of the period, essentially period zero. So we will first link the rate as 10%, 8%, sorry. Number of periods is 10. PMT in this case is 0. There is no periodic payment, and this is for which the type value comes in. Because there is no periodic payment, it doesn't matter whether we put type as 0 or 1, it wouldn't be creating a problem. Future value is going to be 10 lakhs, and when you click on this, it gives you a negative value. Why is this a negative value? Is because if this is positive and we are going to get this, then if we are investing it in terms of cash flow, this needs to be negative, right? We put in 4,63,193, which is the value we get here as well. That's when we get this, right? If you want to get the answer in terms of a positive number, you could essentially put a negative formula outside this cell and we get a positive number. That's the answer to our question, that if we have 4,63,193 today and we invest that at a rate of 8% for a period of 10 years, the return we will make out of this entire equation is going to give us 10 lakh rupees at the end of the period, right? Now let's twist it a little bit. We are saying that this person already has 2 lakh rupees which will get invested. So this 463 is not available, but 2 lakh is available which can be invested. So you put in 2 lakhs today, plus you make yearly investments at a rate of 8%. So both this 2 lakh will grow at 8%, and then yearly you are going to make an investment. Assuming at the end of the year you are making that investment, what is that investment going to be? Right now, this is where that parameter called PMT will become important, because that's what we are trying to find out. What are the annual periodic investments needed, right? Remember, in our present value formula, we had this term called PMT, which we kept as 0. That's because we had already put in the entire amount, right? We had put in the entire amount that was needed. That PMT was not required here. This time, however, the present value is given to us and PMT is to be calculated, right? Excel gives us that formula as well. So we click on PMT and open the bracket, and you see the same data points come again. Rate is 8%, number of periods is 10, present value is this 2 lakh rupees. Now remember, your present value is the amount you are investing today. That's an inflow into the investment. And then PMT is also an amount that you're investing. So the sign of the present value has to be the same as the sign of the PMT that you want. If we want the PMT value to come out as positive, we will keep present value as positive, but future value then will have to be negative. Correct? Future value will have to be negative. Once we have the future value as negative, if we put in type as 0, it means that it's happening at the end of the year. So we put in 2 lakh today, and at the end of the first year, we put in another amount, which is the PMT, which we are calculating. Click on OK, and we find out that if we invest 39,224 rupees every year at the rate of 8%, that is the amount of investment that is required to be able to achieve the final goal of 10 lakh rupees. So 2 lakh invested at 8% today, and then every year 39,224 is also added to the entire number. That gives us this value. Remember, we are using a formula called PMT. PMT is taken, I'll repeat the formula again, that PMT and PV in this particular case, what you could visualize this as is that, let's say you're investing money, so you're investing 2 lakhs today into this, then you have to put in 39,224 every year, 39,224 every year till the time the last year comes, and at the end of it, what you get out of it is 10 lakhs, right? Assuming at 8%. You have invested everything, and that 8% remains constant during this period, right? Now, what is important is also to understand is that the sign of the PV, which is 2 lakh, and the sign of PMT is the same, and that is opposite to the sign of the final future value, right? So if we want these numbers to be positive, both of them, then the future value, remember, we put that as a negative number. That minus B4 was put as the negative number. If you don't put the negative number, it will give you an incorrect answer to this, right? So essentially, that's what is the present value concept that we wanted to look at. Let's also change this a little bit and talk about the future value concept, right? Let's assume that we save 1 lakh rupees every year, right? Investment returns is 11% and the years till retirement is 20. Now remember, same principles once again. Present value, there is no present value. We don't have any data today, right? Every year payment is 1 lakh. Rate of return is 11%. Number of periods is 20. We are looking at what is going to be the future value, right? So let's look at Excel. Excel gives us again a function called future value, and you will see the same parameters will come in again. Rate is 11%, number of periods is 20. PMT, remember, if we put this in as 1 lakh straight away, then we'll get the value of future value as a negative number. There is no present value. We'll put this as 0 and we can omit the type, put as equal to number, put this and find out. So if we invest 1 lakh every year for the next 20 years at a return of 11% per annum, we will end up with 64 lakhs at the end of 20 years, right? That big an amount is what we are going to come in with. If I put in instead in this formula, if we put in PMT as a negative number, then we get this number, our answer as a positive number, which is 64 lakh 20,283. That is the purpose of this analysis, that if you're analyzing, let's say, retirement planning for someone, and you want to identify what is the amount that you will require to save every year, then you could do this analysis. Or if you know that you're going to save a certain amount every year, then what is the amount that you will end with at the end of the period? For that, you use what is called as future value. It's a sort of an extension of the CAGR concept, but CAGR is only on two direct numbers and there are no intermittent payments that are happening. In this particular case, there are intermediate payments which are happening, and there could be a possibility that we start with zero present value as the example we just saw, right? Important concepts, both present value and future value concepts that we have seen, and they will probably keep coming back again and again across a lot of work that we're going to do in Excel.